The value of honesty and forgiveness. In watching Star Wars 3: Revenge of the Sith, I came away with a very real sense of why honesty and forgiveness are so important to the Christian walk. In this movie, Anakin Skywalker is a bold, brash, headstrong young man who has more talent than wisdom, more stubbornness than patience. Through a series of events, he makes some really bad decisions that weigh on his conscience with no way to get out. There is a scene in the movie where Anakin, confused and distraught by the actions he has taken, goes to talk with Yoda. As they sit there across from one another, Anakin tries to explain the fear in his heart. He tries, but in reality, he can't, because that fear would necessarily preclude him from being on the Jedi Council, of which Yoda is a founding father and principal guide. So he hedges the truth. He talks about the situations around him, wanting to go with his Jedi Master to fight, wanting to protect the Republic, wanting to do the right thing, but not knowing what that is. However, his attempt at finding some peace in his tortured soul is doomed from the beginning. Why? Because Yoda cannot give him the thing he needs most: forgiveness. Even wise and powerful Yoda cannot remove himself from the situation and his own feelings of mistrust for the young man to really listen to what he is saying. You see, Yoda has his own agenda, his own allegiances, and in truth, he has never trusted Anakin. This boy to whom much was given has abused that responsibility, and Yoda has no intention of helping him find his way back. To me, this scene has a powerful message for any Christian willing to listen. We all do stupid things. We all mess up. In the fog of now, we all make dumb mistakes, for which we are truly sorry. But if there is no outlet for that pain, and no way to gain forgiveness for it, then we are irretrievably stuck in all the muck we've created in our lives. This is the dichotomy laid out between the Old Testament and the New Testament. In the Old Testament, the people of Israel were really on their own. God gave them the 10 Commandments, which they couldn't really live up to, and said, in effect, "Okay, here is what I expect. If you don't get it right, I will come and smite you down. Good luck." Talk about instilling fear of the Lord in you. In many churches today, this way of thinking still persists. You are ostensibly on a 24-hour surveillance by God, and He is sure to catch you doing something wrong. When He does, watch out. And so we become very good at rationalizing our sinfulness. We become very good at hiding what is really going on. We get very good at dressing ourselves up so we look like good, strong Christians on the outside, even if that isn't what's really going on. I heard a speaker once say that he grew up in the perfect church. No one sinned. They were all sick, but no one had lied to anybody. No one had anger in their heart. What he is saying is that they couldn't confess who they really were, and get forgiveness for that. Because if they confessed, they might well be judged unworthy by those they most needed forgiveness from, just like Anakin. So they had to live in those lies. But God knew that we couldn't do it on our own. He knew we needed some way to say, "Hey, I messed up. Can you forgive me so I can let this go, stop torturing myself, and begin to live again?" In fact, you know His answer to this quandary. For God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in Him should not perish, but have everlasting life. Unlike learning the rules and trying to do it on your own, Christ gave us a new option. He said, "Come to me, all you who are weary and laden, and I will give you rest." He gave us a way to lay our burden of sin down. He gave us forgiveness. More than that, He gave us unconditional love. In other words, He taught us that the Father loves us no matter what we do. What a concept! He taught us it doesn't matter what we've done, because God is greater than any sin we might ever have committed, and that we can come to the cross and lay that sin down, be forgiven, and walk away whole. Anakin couldn't do that. The best he could do was talk around the truth of how much he needed forgiveness, how badly he hurt, how deeply confused he was. Like so many people in therapy, he talked around and around and around, but the hurt and the pain and the sins were still there. Now, don't misunderstand me. There is a place for talking and getting things out. In fact, that is the first real lesson here. To have a place where you can be brutally honest about what's going on, to get all the muck out in the open. But there is an undeniable second component as well, and this has to have someone on the listening end of that conversation who can offer forgiveness or help you find forgiveness for yourself and others, so that you can be released from the need to exact revenge on yourself for those sins. Both components are found in the person of Jesus Christ. With him, you can be brutally honest. You can pour out every hurt and sadness and fear and wrong turn you've ever made, and he still loves you. In fact, his love for you never changes. It is the one constant in this world. And then, after you have given him the burden of your sins, he smiles gently and reminds you that you were forgiven 2,000 years ago when he hung on that cross. It was and still is an indescribably wonderful gift, for what he has really given back to you is your life and your future, because you no longer have to stay stuck in what you've done. You can now move on. I wonder how many Anakins there are in the world, people walking around, wallowing in their guilt and shame with no place to lay that burden down. It is something to consider. 2005.
Reflections on Life, written by Staci Stallings. Copyright Staci Stallings 2005. Narrated by Michaela Acker. Production copyright Staci Stallings 2023. Like and subscribe to the Staci Stallings YouTube channel so you never miss a second of the story.